Hello everyone and welcome back to the Belgian Beer Brothers channel. Cedric here in Antwerp with yet another brew review, and today I am tapping into the Spanish connection again. Today I have a beer by Brewery or Cervecería Laugar, and Laugar, I say Spanish, but we have Spanish and Spanish and Spanish, right? So we have Spain as a whole, but we also have Catalonia, we have the Basque country, and so on and so on. So Spain is just as divided as Belgium, actually. This one is from the Basque region, and that reflects in the name as well, because Laugar apparently is Basque for four beers. And I do believe that this brewery was founded by four friends. That's where it came from. I'm not sure about that. I should verify that. But I would love to talk about this brewery more in a brewery breakdown in the near future, and see some more of their beers. Now, this is a beer that I bought solely by the looks of it. I love this label. It has zombie cowboys. Come on, what's not to like? Their slogan is Laugar Rebel Beers. These three cowboys are, yeah, I want to say rebels, but one is sporting dynamite, the other one a revolver, and the one with the arrow through his head and the shovel in his hand is wearing a sheriff's badge. So rebel, not sure about that. Either way, this is called the sweet, the bitter, and the spiced. So this is a great wink and nudge to the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it is called a Mexican stout. It's 7.5% ABV, so decent range for a stout, because we would almost forget in this day and age of craft stouts of 10 to 14% strong stouts, that we can get a light one as well. But for me, what was interesting is the ingredients list. They start off strong with water and then they add malts. No specification. Oat flakes, well-rounded, creamy mouthfeel. I could get behind that. Hops, again, no specification, unfortunately. But then that is only the beginning, because we do have straight up coffee from Ethiopia. So it's not just from the roasted malts, but they actually add Ethiopian coffee. And I do see that they use the Right Side Alliance, so it's fair trade coffee. They use cinnamon, then cocoa nibs from Tanzania. Again, an organization that I can't read this time. Oh, it's Kaicho. Okay, so from the Kaicho organization. They spiced it up with chipotle peppers, and that is the spiced part here. So the bitter from the coffee, the sweet from the cinnamon, the spiced from the chipotle peppers. And I know chipotle is huge in the States and quite large in the UK. Here in Belgium, zilch, nada, nothing, bupkis, not at all. So we are actually not familiar with chipotle. And to be honest, we thought, those of us that have heard this name, thought that this was just the name of a food chain, fast food chain, and not the name of a pepper. So shame on us, but I have been educated right now, thanks to some UK friends. And it also has lactose and yeast, and that is quite the ingredients bill for a 7.5%er. So lactose in a 7.5%er makes me think that this is gonna be sweeter than I would expect if I didn't know a thing or two about beer. So yeah, I'm extremely excited. And then this tiny label here that they almost hid behind a cactus or a cowboy, barrel aged. So apart from the Ethiopian coffee, the cinnamon, the Tanzanian cocoa nibs, the lactose, the chipotle peppers, they also barrel aged this. And honestly, I with all the ingredients and effort that went into this, I think they're underselling this. Of course, I haven't tasted it yet, so we'll see about that. But talking about that, let's have a taste. A nice branded bottle cap, Laugar bottle cap. Ooh, it's like pouring motor oil. And I think we've drawn a record for darkest foam ever. I think that this doesn't even compete with Guinness for the name pitch black. I know Guinness black and tan, pitch black, but this does not let any light through whatsoever. So this is like black tar. Foam is just brown. I'm not even gonna say dark beige, I'm not gonna say brownish. This is straight up brown. A lot of bubbling going on, almost hard to find in this darkness, but a lot of bubbling on the side, on the top there. Look at how thick that is. It's like pouring syrup. And we can just hear the effervescence, how bubbly that is. It's like some ASMR for you guys. Never mind. Yeah, beautiful. It's like black and brown. It's not even black and tan. It's like pitch black and dark brown. Nice. Oh, there's so much going on in this aroma. So complex. Actually, they mentioned cinnamon, and I didn't get any cinnamon in the scent. And I am not a huge fan of cinnamon, so whenever they use cinnamon, for me it has to be subtle. And I think this actually works, or at least in the nose. So I have to be cautious when saying things like that. I get a faint hint of coffee, but I think I mainly get, I want to say it's the chipotle pepper. It reminds me a tiny bit of cayenne, but also just smoked paprika powder. Yeah, think about roasted bell peppers. I can instantly think of 2 or 3 people to share this with. I know a historic chef who loves to cook dishes from the Middle Ages. And I also know a guy not living far from here that actually breeds peppers, but like 50 kinds of peppers. And he does have Madame Jeanne and Carolina Reaper and such. So this would be interesting for him. Yeah, I could sniff this all day. It is a very, very interesting, very pleasant smell for me as a former chef. Yeah, this takes me back to barbecues and dry rubs and slow burns and things like that. But yeah, let's have a taste, because that is the essence after all. Cheers. Interesting. let me go chronologic here. First sip, it really rolls over the tongue, into the throat, into into your stomach, into your everything else. Of course, for us, tasting stops here, like in the back of the throat. But at first, we get a rather dry stout, and I get a faint hint of, like I said, smoked paprika powder, or a very, very gentle touch of cayenne pepper. So that would be the chipotle. But I am, of course, comparing to flavors that I am familiar with. And then we go farther to the back, at the sides of the tongue, the back of the throat, roof of the mouth. We get some sweetness. Now, I don't know much about the grain bill, but we do have lactose, and that adds a bit of sweetness to this flavor. It's like not spicy, and I think this is a semantics issue, because the label doesn't say spicy, it says spiced, and spicy means hot, and spiced means added peppers. So I think they absolutely nailed this. It is not spicy, and I just come to think of a beer, a spicy stout that I have. Maybe that's for the next video. But this is spiced. We get the flavor of the peppers and not the hotness, which I find interesting, because one of the things that you need to master in order to master any craft, you have to master doing it subtly, softly, chill. I have played in bands for 20 years, and for me a master drummer is a drummer that is able to play quietly. For example, finesse, touch. And that is the same thing with brewing. It is very easy to look up the extremes and go all out. It is very hard to get something balanced and get something interesting. And I didn't expect much of this beer, but up until now I find it extremely interesting. So many minutes in and we are only at the initial flavor. What a doozy. Yeah, I think maybe the only point of I don't want to say negativity, but I do have one slight issue, and that is I do taste the dried powdered pepper. I do like this flavor, but I think I wanted to have more pepper flavor and not necessarily the dried and ground pepper flavor. Nonetheless, going forward, the coffee flavor is also quite subtle, so using extremely dark roasted malts and that coffee from, was it Ethiopia? Yeah, it's Ethiopia. And still getting this subtle, pleasant flavor, because I'm not a coffee drinker, so for me it gets too strong quite quickly. To still get this subtle, pleasant coffee flavor is an art in itself. And then I do get a hint of sweetness from that lactose and probably from that cinnamon as well, but again very subtle, perfectly in balance with all the other flavors that I have already mentioned. So yeah, great. Then moving on to the cocoa nibs. Now, a lot of people do make a mistake that, or in the sense that cocoa nibs aren't chocolate. They are related, but cocoa nibs in themselves are actually quite bitter quite often. So it's not like getting a hazelnut chocolate bar. Cocoa nibs are part of that bean. So quite bitter, but also quite flavorful. A lot of fiber in there as well. I have talked about that in Akan, I forgot the name, Akan's thing, by North Antwerp Brewing. So I'll put a link up here. And again, it's balanced out. So I think they matched. I honestly want to know how many tries they had before throwing this out on the market. Because this cannot be a right first time beer. There are so many nuances, so many subtleties, so many interesting points of attention here. And I absolutely didn't expect to get this lyrical about this beer, because it's not my style, not my idea, not my thing. I just bought this because of the label. So there you go. Shopping surprises. Yeah, the pepper against the cinnamon, the cocoa nibs against the coffee, the lactose against the roasted malts. It's all a constant fight. It reminds me of like modern dance, but also flamenco, which is also a push and pull, a constant fight, if you will. And I have some friends in Bilbao, in Basque Country. I don't know where Gordechola, where this brewery is, how far Gordechola is from Bilbao, but when I'm visiting Bilbao, I am definitely putting this on my radar. And I'm only so far, so... But this is definitely very, very nice. The mouthfeel also is quite thick. I want to say creamy, but it's also a bit syrupy. So that might be a point of critique for me. Because the thicker, the more syrupy, the sugary, whatever a beer is, the harder it is to drink, so the more energy it takes. And sometimes that's a good thing, because you don't want strong beers to go down too quickly. But in this case, 7.5% is like that halfway point. I could do with a thinner beer in this segment. However, that thickness, that syrupy idea also adds to the overall feeling of this beer, and actually it does fit. So it's really weird. Now, reviewing a beer like this definitely shows that I am not accustomed to the craft beer scene, or not enough, because for me this is all surprising. But I'm sure if I get this to, for example, the Beer Lovers Bar or Station 1280, both craft beer bars in Antwerp, I'm sure that at least half of the people will not be surprised and write me an essay on this beer. So it also reminds me of the Ermine beer by Wonder Beyond Brewing that I reviewed way back. I'll again link up here, but that was a barrel-aged chocolate mint stout thingy. Yeah, these beers keep surprising me, and I often think when looking at the label and the description, like, that's going nowhere for me, and then I get pleasantly surprised like this one. I think you guys already know that I cannot score this too low because I'm too lyrical, too enthusiastic about these beers. So I'm torn. And actually 7.5 is a very decent point to be at for a beer like this. Because again, when I'm blind tasting, I would easily put this at like 9.5, 10%, because the alcohol is often masked by the lactose, by the sweetness, but in this case it works just fine. It's 7.5, perfect. I would think 9.5, but again, better this way than the other way around. What to do? I think I am going to score this at a 4. And full disclosure, when buying this and when going into this, I hesitated quite a while to review this because I thought this will probably not be my thing, so I will have to review this on the right day, and today was a day that I had an entire day of school, and tomorrow is a day off, so I thought a great day to review a beer like this. But again, I am very pleasantly surprised. When going into this, I expected to land anywhere between 2.5 and probably be surprised if it got to 3.5, but I am gladly and happily giving this a 4 right now. And like I said, I really want to know how many tries they had. I think this is this must have been a awfully fun thing to develop, with all the trial and error, and then to land on this. I really want to have a talk with these guys. Okay, 4 it is. And that all being said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to support this channel, leave a comment down below if you have any questions or remarks, or visit the Patreon page, share a video, whatever you can do to grow this channel, much appreciated. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. If you want to see more, hit that bell icon as well, so you'll get notified whenever I upload something. And I might have another spicy stout for you guys. This is starting to sound like I have to start an OnlyFans. But no, more spicy stout later on. Maybe not the next video, but somewhere in the next few videos I will include it. Until then, cheers.